Morning, boys. How goes it?
Real good.
Hey everybody, welcome back to our show today. I'll tell you what, we are after giant crappies today, and now we have got some guys in the boat that I know if we can get them to bite, they're no doubt gonna catch them. Today we're fishing with Pete, Hupf, and Steve from Powersports. We're on Beaver Dam, and I'll tell you, I've been seeing pictures of absolutely giant crappies, like a lot of 14 inchers, but some fish actually over 15 inches. Now I myself have only caught one crappie in my whole life, and I fish crappies a lot over 15 inches. Like, I'm talking true over 15 inches, like measurable fish. And I'll tell you, I am very excited. We've got a perfect day here. These crappies are up, getting ready to spawn, and they're staging. And so we're gonna be fishing a lot of shallow water. Of course, Beaver Dam is a shallow lake anyways, but what we're looking for are gravel bars. And I'll let Pete explain more of it, but this is a perfect day for it. Overcast like this, I've got a feeling it's gonna be a winner.
75% of these crappies have spawned.
They have all spawned, really?
Yeah, some of them, you got one already.
Come on.
Yep, first
What? I can't believe we're nutting crappies. Wow. That is a nice fish for sure. Boy, that did not take long at all.
I got a little thumper jig here. It's got a little blade on the bottom side. I've been liking the pink and white or white on white.
Okay.
And then just slow rolling it. And there's a lot of males yet. They're pretty much guarding the nest, so you're bringing it past the nest and they just want it out of there. So
they do. So they're just basically protecting it.
Grabbing it in aggression, or some of them are feeding. But yeah, you'll feel a just a little tap, and some of them engulfing and some are just trying to move the bait. And if it's possible, I don't know, I seem to think this, like, these fish have evolved over the years because they used to go to the shorelines, the bridges, all the shore fishing spots, and now because of the pelicans, the cormorants, and the pressure of shore fishing, now they're spawning in the mid-lake.
Let's talk a little bit about that, or, you know, let's catch some more and then we'll talk about it. Right. Well, that's a good one though. Nope, now that's a female right there, and look at where that jig is, all the way down in her mouth like that, all the way down her throat. Now you can tell she hasn't spawned because she's not all beat up, and obviously you can see her big belly right there. We'll let her go for sure. Obviously we're gonna throw out some minnows and some bobbers when the bite slows down a little bit, but we literally have just pulled up on this spot here. So what does it take to grow big crappies? And why is Beaver Dam such a great crappie lake? And, you know, it's a great walleye lake, great bass lake, but why crappies?
The forage, really. A lot of minnows, a lot of smaller buffalo carp and stuff. Just,
okay.
It sustains a really good fishery, definitely with the crappies.
You know, and there's not a lot of depth to this lake either, right?
No, 8-9 feet is your deepest spots.
Okay.
But typically right around 6 feet. A lot of structure, a lot of rock piles.
You know, where do these fish go rest of the year? It's like you get them this time of year on the structure, and so where are they rest of the year?
They go out in the abyss and you can never find them again.
It's always funny, like how you can put, you know, a spot on a spot, and that's where they'll just like stack as thick as they can possibly get in there. You can cast all around it, and that spot might only be 3-4 foot.
The more casts you make, you were drawing fish to the boat, I think.
Nice. I love the colors on them too, you know? Charcoal, that's right. And that is absolutely a perfect fish when you're looking at keeping fish to eat too. So you're saying that 3/4 of these fish are already done spawning. I didn't even notice. What is the water temperature now?
56.
56, wow. Do you think time of day makes a difference?
The morning has been pretty good, but then yesterday moved and then they were biting really good at that time. It's just that they're committed to what they're doing right now. So if you get a bait in their area, they're gonna probably hit it right now.
No, most of the ones we've got have been white crappies. Is this a black crappie? Yeah, there you go. That's the first, really, the first black crappie that we've got. I'm kind of glad that it stopped raining, I can tell you that much, right? You know, it's kind of weird because, you know, in the daytime, it's getting up in the, you know, that 60, 70 range some days. But in the mornings, they've been cool. A lot of cool mornings lately. Hey, Steve, let's talk a little bit about Powersports this morning.
Sure.
What's going on over there? Hey,
Well,
I got to tell you, dude. My new Skag lawnmower.
I was going to ask you about
last
that.
weekend, I tore it up with that thing. That
Beautiful.
thing is fast, too.
I was going to
Cuts
say,
great.
like we talked about, in terms of doing the chores,
Yep.
you can't beat a Skag. It gets it done quick, right? And it cuts nice.
Besides the Skag lawnmowers, I mean, you guys really have a diverse amount of different products there, you know?
Right.
Let's
Yes, we
talk
do.
a little bit about that.
Yeah, in terms of the products or the brands that we represent, I mean, we represent Polaris, we represent Kubota, we represent Honda, we represent Skag. We also have a complete line of steel. So in terms of folks coming into Powersports Company, you know, they're coming in and they're looking for recreational vehicles, but also those work vehicles.
My wife yells at me all the time because I'm a tree planter. We got hundreds of trees in our yards that I've planted, and that really makes a difference having that zero turn.
Exactly.
Talk a little bit about
How
that.
well does that cut around those trees?
It cuts absolutely awesome.
You know, I think that's what a lot of folks aren't aware of, is just how agile those units are.
Keep catching fish. You're doing good.
I'm telling ya.
You're kicking some.
Let me get another cast out there.
We're fishing anywhere from 3 to 5 feet of water.
Yep.
So where do you think that bait most of the time is in the water column?
It's just kind of floating, you know, probably 2 feet below the surface, really.
So these fish are mainly suspended.
Yeah, they're coming
Yeah.
up and grabbing it, especially when you get it near their nest or where their spawning areas are. Yeah.
There are quite a few that are schooled up and clumped up right on the bottom, but everything is, you know, the more aggressive fish that we're catching are probably that 18 inches to 20 inches.
Yep.
This is, yeah. No, I'll give them the old flip around here with the mags. It's too bad you can't just like catch these year round like this, you know? Why does it always have to be just in the spring and in the fall? Hey Pete, let's talk a little bit about, now we have a little bit of wind coming in on us, and I know last year when we fished with you, you know, you were actually, you know, casting across the wind and getting that bow in your line and basically just watching that line to jump like that too, huh?
Right. I watch the line. I like throwing crosswind and just kind of having a little curl in my line as I'm bringing it in, and you'll see it make a slight little movement, and also it's floating. The bait is floating more in the water column. Whereas if you're just like straight retrieving it, you know, there's a good one.
Yep. Ooh. Same thing, just I started doing what you were doing and no doubt hooked up right away. Boy, them are some beasts. That's a nice crappie in anybody's books there. Crappies are such a pretty fish, you know. You know, when I used to do taxidermy work, they were like one of the toughest fish there was to mount. Back then, you know, everything was skin mounts. Now everything is really switched to replicas.
They were saying that license sales for fishing alone, just a general fishing license, went up by close to 56%.
Oh,
really? And in terms of that number, 35% of that were first-time licensed purchasers.
Wow.
Now I'm doing something a little bit different, everybody. I'm basically jigging it, stopping it. Oh, that's a nice fish. And where you guys are doing more of a straight, slow retrieve, just to mix it up. I mean, that's, you know, not every fish wants the bait presented to them the same way all the time. This is a 7.2. You know, I like a little bit longer rod. I know Pete likes a little shorter rods, and which is probably when it's windy, really, really good. But I like a little bit longer rod because it helps me cast a little bit farther too. And I definitely like the way, you know, when they're slow rolling it and that how that loads up on that soft tip. Oh, chunker. You know, it kind of slowed down a little bit. Now Pete's changing colors. Instead of going to another spot, you know, we know the fish are still here. And, you know, that's something you got to think about when you start fishing crappies or any kind of fish in general, especially panfish, is that, you know, only so many of them are going to hit one color of bait or one style of bait, and even it could be one type of cadence, so you're always kind of mixing that up too. You know, you got to remember, we're throwing most of these back in, so they get back down in there and they start shaking when they get in the rest of the school, and it is kind of like a warning to kind of shut down. I was waiting for Pete to give you one of them chartreuse tails, right?
You know, he's He's been, very conservative with that.
Say it. Let's say it. He's been stingy.
He's got something that's working.
Does he know that this is your boat?
Well, once again, we haven't talked about who's swimming back yet.
All right, Pete tried some other colors and we caught a few more, but now before we leave, we're definitely gonna try slip bobber. And a lot of times, that obviously that bait's just gonna lay there in front of them fish. It's amazing how they can't resist a live minnow.
I'm part of the Lake Association and chair of the fish committee, so it's nice to see these young fish in this lake.
I slowed it way down again. That was the big thing. And I did go back to that white twister tail, caught a couple on a minnow, but then I got a slip bobber off on this side. But I did go back to what was working earlier. Again, if I'm gonna keep, and I am gonna keep 10 for a meal. I'll show you guys how to clean them too. Pretty simple to clean crappies. This is a perfect size right here. That's probably 10 and a half, maybe 11 inches. Perfect crappie to keep.
I grabbed for a minnow in my hand to hook it on. There was not bait on this.
That's weird.
What the heck?
I was snagged in the rocks.
Yup.
I popped the bait loose, felt something, set the hook, and
crappie.
There's a crappie. So he was interested in seeing what the heck that minnow was doing down there, stuck in the rocks.
And now he's got a hook in his
And now he's got a hook in the side. So.
Hey everybody, this week's tip of the week brought to you by our good friends up at Mike's Country Meats in Tigerton, the finest jerky on the planet. Hey Steve, you are no doubt a guy that's always got a good tip. And let's kind of go over, obviously we had a great morning here. I mean, caught more than enough crappies, but we had to work for them at times.
We did. Obviously in terms of the today, we've had weather change going from cloudy skies to now, partly sunny skies to some real warmth in terms of that sun. And we definitely went from what was a consistent, slow roll the bait this morning to at times you went to more of a jigging action with the bait, to changing colors, starting off with a white and at times going to a real hot, bright color.
Okay.
That got them going. So it's been a very interesting morning, and we've had some lulls where we had to change some things up, and we did, and consistently caught fish.
And that is the big thing, like we were saying earlier, and like Steve's saying, is that, don't get too complacent when you're out here fishing and you're throwing the same thing over and over, and all of a sudden you stop catching. The fish most likely are still there. It's just changing the color, changing the cadence.
That's it. And also, going out one day where the water temperature can be a little bit higher, so they want maybe a faster moving bait, to the next day where the water temperature drops, and especially this spring where we've had 90-degree weather to 40-degree weather. So these crappies and these fish are every day, just like we want to do. We don't want to eat a steak every day. Sometimes you change it up and maybe eat a salad.
Right.
I don't know, but the same thing with these fish.
Hey, again, this week's tip of the week brought to you by our good friends up at Mike's Country Meats, the finest jerky on the planet. Hey, so let's tell everybody really how they can get a hold of you and come out and experience this. And it's not, you don't just fish crappies, you're a very multi-species fisherman
that swims.
Hey, I'll tell you what, last summer we were out with you and we had some awesome perch fishing too, and I know that's something later in the summer that comes up, but you do a lot of gills, you do a lot of walleyes, pike, pretty, like I said, pretty multi-species. Let's tell them how they can get a hold of you.
You can find me on Facebook under Pete Hupf or Best Damn Bait, or call me at 608-609-2707, and we can get you scheduled. Like Larry was saying, I'll do walleyes, perch, bluegill, crappie, and I'll travel basically a 60-mile radius wherever the best bite is, and stay on that bite, and not overdo the resource. Like today we kept a little bit for a meal.
Yep.
And
it's more about
yeah,
educational, so
exactly.
you want to learn
Yes.
and have fun catching fish.
Right.
And Pete, you know more than anybody, is that if you come out here and you keep all these fish,
Right.
you're really taking away from the
you're
resource
gonna
big
deplete
time.
your resource, and they won't be there for the future. So
In terms of Powersports, we view folks as family. We want you to come to Powersports to really have your questions answered, the ability to look at quite a few different lines of product, whether you're looking at an ATV, a UTV, a tractor, a zero-turn mower. We are really knowledgeable in regards to asking the right questions and really narrowing it down to that right product that's going to work for them.
It really shows a company like Powersports is really committed to the outdoors by partnering with us. So we appreciate that. We appreciate all the great products we get to use too. And it certainly makes my life a lot easier and actually helps me have more time to spend out here fishing and hunting. So thank you for your partnership. Now I'll tell you what, there is an absolutely a giant. And I said, hey, you know what? I got some work I got to get done today, but we're gonna have to stay a little bit longer because we were getting doubles and we're getting triples, and that is a monster.
it's like the biggest white I've ever caught.
Monster crappie.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was going to say.
Wow.
That,
We're gonna measure her and let her go back.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful fish.
the cool part is, if you guys just spend like an extra 5 minutes when you pull the boat out of the water, boy, I'll tell you what, it sure keeps you from waxing them so much too. Like I said, for wiping the boat down, this is my favorite product right here.
Built for fishermen, built by fishermen. Really, that says it all. It's the family here. It's not a big conglomerate, it's a family.
They treat you, you feel like you're in a family, you know.
When you put those two together, an amazing product and amazing people, it's just the type of company you want to be involved with.
Not only because of just the great boats, but because of the camaraderie that the Warrior family has.
The customer service is amazing. They never leave you hanging.
So come join the Warrior family. Hey everybody, I'll tell you what, it is our Leroy lunchtime, and today, since we're so close to Leroy's in Fox Lake, we're gonna stop over there and grab, they have hot lunches every day over there, and today I was told it's chicken and mashed potatoes. No doubt it is our Leroy lunchtime, and we get a really good Leroy lunch today because we're stopping here in Fox Lake and we're gonna see what today's special is. Whew, I am absolutely starving. Look at that meal. That is the cool part about stopping here at Leroy's, either in Horicon or Fox Lake. Hey everybody, I'll tell you what, a lot of times I don't like the skin on my crappies, but when they're this size, it is perfect to leave the skin on. And what I'm gonna do, actually the reason I'm leaving the skin on these is I'm actually gonna bake these either on the grill or I'm gonna bake them in the oven. So what I like to do is I use the same tumble drum that I use for all my perch and all my bluegills. So I'm gonna tumble drum these, baby. I kept about 10 for myself. It's about perfect in here. And you know, the cool thing is it doesn't take very long. This is the handiest little tool. The days of having fish scales flying all over the place are definitely over. The key is to have the right amount of water in the bottom of the tub here. So basically you can see how maybe I've got about, I would say about 3 inches of the tub when it comes all the way around is in the water at all times. If you have too much water in there, it's not gonna, the fish aren't gonna get scaled. And if you don't have enough water in there, what's gonna happen, it'll start scaling the fish, but it won't be enough to flush the tumble drum out. So definitely, once you do it a few times, you'll be like, yep, that's a perfect amount of water, done. And you can see if it's working right. Because see the scales? You can see, you can just reach down to the bottom. You can see all the scales. And look at that, they've only been in there for about 5 minutes. So I'm gonna give them another 5 and ready to flay them. Yep, no scales. I always like to dump them back into fresh water, clean water, and it's super easy to clean up. I'll dump it on the sidewalk here so you can see all the scales. See all the scales right here? Tip that over, take the drum itself. Same thing, most of the scales go through it anyways. So what I do, sometimes what I'll do is always pitch the knife forward up towards the head. And then sometimes what I'll do is I'll take the whole rib cage right out, just like that. I'll cut the rib cage and right through the fillet. And then what I'll do is typically I'll go back around them like this and just pitch the knife down and then pinch it up, and no bones. Same thing here. Basically just pitch the knife down, pitch it up, throw them in. The key is, I always say, is to keep your water clean. The other way you can do it too is you can go forward and you could just cut like this. And then when you come down along the ribs, to me this is a little bit slower. Basically, I'm peeling back with my fingers always too. I got pressure on it. And here's your whole rib cage right there. All this. Hey, thanks everybody for joining us again this week. We want to give special thanks, like we always like to do, to all of our law enforcement agents all around the country and all of our military men and women. And remember, like I always say, we are still living in the greatest country in the world as of today. And no doubt, and I mean no doubt, it is a great day to be alive. Hey, we'll see you next week. Get the trailer, and just pull out, and all of a sudden, I look in the mirror, freaking got the guy's trailer next to me of his. Really did a number on that guy's trailer. And it scratched up Kent's trailer. I've been still hearing about that.
Don't film that.
Look at that tank.
My buddy gets all excited saying, well, the salmon have got to be over there. So he gets shoulder to shoulder with me, rears back to throw, and drops sidearm. And he goes, well, it's through your baseball cap into your skull.